over 50 and struggling with fat loss? Every year, is the scale going up by a pound or two, or every week is the scale going up by a pound or two? Menopausal weight loss is tricky. Hi, I'm Connie Rutledge. I'm a functional nutritionist and wellness coach, and I specialize in menopausal fat loss. I want to help you take the guesswork out of figuring out how to maintain a healthy body weight. Not an easy thing. I'm 61 years old and I struggle too. I've had a nutritional practice for about 15 years. And as I've gotten older and morphed into a menopausal woman, I find ways, secrets for sharing with my clients just how to maintain a healthy body weight. And I want to share it with you. So welcome in. This is Over 50 Fat Blast, Fat Loss Secrets for the Over 50 woman. And let's get started. Weight loss is not a discipline issue. It's a hormone issue. Ladies, it's all about insulin. And once we appreciate the increasing insulin hormone that happens in our body after menopause, we can deal with it. It's so weird because all of our sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, are dwindling, and the insulin is increasing if we're not careful. Insulin regulates metabolism. When we balance insulin, we curb hunger and cravings, and it's easier to stick to a healthy diet. We were taught calorie restriction. We were taught how to starve to keep our weight down. Yes, it's definitely true that we need to be active and eat right, but calories in and calories out has been proven that it doesn't work. If you follow Jason Fung and read the beginning chapters of the Obesity Code, you'll understand it. There are studies showing that the antiquated model of calories in, calories out is just false. So let's talk about biochemistry and the number one way to maintain your weight, lose the fat, and start having momentum and succeeding at achieving a healthy body weight. I mean, it's time, isn't it? Calorie restriction does one thing. It lowers your metabolism. When your body doesn't have enough raw materials, enough fuel, it starts to turn down the furnace. It doesn't have the fuel it needs, so it lowers your metabolism. And then when you do eat a regular meal, or you fall off the wagon and have a plate of cookies, or whatever it is, then your body is going to put that fat right back on, and no looking back. It's not fair, but it's the way it is. My number one secret for fat loss is eat. Just eat less often. So we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. And I know you've seen this before, or you've heard about it. And maybe you haven't tried it, maybe you have, but it works. By eating less often and allowing your body to use the fuel that you put in it, process the food that you ate, it allows you to tap into burning fat for fuel instead of just maintaining, those low calorie snacks and processing all of that sugar and all that fuel. So let's just be clear that if you have a stigma towards intermittent fasting, just let it go. Just appreciate that our body is a machine, if you will, and let's feed it the way it's designed to be fed. By eating less often, we control the hormone called insulin. When you go without food for several hours, your insulin drops. That's exactly what we want. We want low insulin in the body. When insulin is low, then the body can grab fat for fuel instead of sugar, because insulin controls sugar. So let me give you an example of intermittent fasting. Let's say that you don't eat for 16 hours, and then you do eat for 8 hours of the day. This is something that we kind of ease into. And I'll just say that the easiest way to do this is you extend your fasted window by an hour in the morning. If you go to bed, you're fasting, right? So ideally, you want to eat dinner on the early side, say maybe 5 or 6 or even 7, and you stop eating, say 7 o'clock. The next morning, when you wake up, and if you're waking up at 7 and eating upon awakening, then maybe you want to just extend that, I'll call it a feeding window, an hour by an hour. So if you wake up at 7, don't eat anything until 8 and see how you do. You can certainly drink water. You can have black coffee, black tea. You can even have electrolytes if you need to, and you shouldn't need to if you're just extending that feeding window 1 hour. But there's an easy way to kind of ease into extending that fasting window. So maybe the next day you wake up and the day before you went 13 hours fasted, which is amazing. It's important for your body to fast. Have no food on board and let it process. I mean, there's so many gut functions that need at least a 12-hour window of fasting every single day. So then, 2 days into this, you're at maybe 14 hours of fasted time and you're feeling pretty good. You're thinking, okay, I can do this. You're hydrating, you're getting your minerals in, and you're then eating. The trick to intermittent fasting is to eat. You will have maybe a 14 to 17 hour fasted window most days, and then it's time to eat a meal. And I'm talking, we're not going to scrimp. We're going to feed our body. Definitely, you want to plan this out. And most of us need at least 30 grams of protein every meal. 30 grams of protein and maybe 20 grams of carbohydrates to feed ourselves. What does that look like? Maybe it's like a 3-egg ham and spinach omelet with a piece of gluten-free toast and butter. I mean, that meal should satisfy most of us and feel really, really good, like we've had a solid meal. Maybe you want to do like 2 turkey patties on a bed of greens and tomatoes and pickles and a vinaigrette dressing, if that is more appealing to you. Maybe you want to do a really quality smoothie with 30 grams of protein powder that you tolerate well and is nice and clean, and some almond milk or nut milk and some nut butter and some veggies and a little bit of fruit. That would be a complete meal. So you want to start to kind of tally up your protein grams and your carbohydrate grams. Usually the fat will kind of follow along. If you're eating ample protein, you usually have good fat sources in there. But it's a simple way to kind of just assess and feed yourself. So then you eat that really substantial meal and then you stop eating. And count the hours until you actually feel hunger. You can certainly drink water, you can drink black tea and black coffee if you need to. You can have electrolytes. And when I talk about electrolytes, I'll link that in the description box below. But there are sugar-free electrolytes that I like. Element is one. I think it's Relight by Real Salt is another. And the market's being flooded by really good quality, no sugar electrolyte supplements that will really help, because once you start kind of restricting carbohydrates and eating higher protein, you're going to need more electrolytes. You'll just feel better. And most of us, I say electrolytes are minerals. Minerals are like spark plugs of the body, and it's important to maintain a really balanced mineral profile in the body so that you don't feel exhausted when you're doing, dieting or really trying to blast the fat. Fasting is not calorie restriction. Obviously, we're going to be eating in specific windows. So you're going to be feeding yourself a couple times a day, maybe 2 decent, larger meals and a protein snack. Maybe you're going to do 3 meals. And we're just going to kind of see how much food your body needs by paying attention, being mindful, and having a plan. And many times I will suggest that you structure your meal with at least 30 grams of protein and roughly 20 carbs. Nature's carbs, natural foods, unprocessed foods, as often as possible. Okay, this could be kind of seen as ketogenic diet, low carb for sure, because as a menopausal woman, you do not process carbs like you used to. I mean, your body just doesn't handle sugar like it used to. You'll gain weight immediately. And oftentimes, if you do have too much carbohydrates, the next morning your weight will be up on the scale. And that's not fat. That's water weight. We'll talk about that at a different time. Now, if getting that much protein is difficult for you, say you tend towards vegetarianism, there's a supplement that I really like. It's called Perfect Aminos. It's a perfect amino formulation that is going to basically be protein in a tablet, in a supplement. I love it. I use it all the time. 5 tablets equals 15 grams of dietary protein, and you can count that in your macros. So what I typically do, if I'm doing a longer fast, I will take 2 servings, which is 10 tablets, and that equals 30 grams of protein. And I'm just not hungry. So I'll link the product in the show notes so that you can take a look and see what you think. But boy, if you're struggling to get your protein in and you can take a supplement, it sure makes it easy. And then you're not feeling as hungry or as hangry, and you're basically building lean body mass by adding in a very clean vegan protein. It's even made in the US. So it's a win-win all the way across the board. I love Perfect Aminos and take them myself. The best way to blast the fat in relationship to the intermittent fasting is no snacking. I just said maybe you could have a high protein snack, and ideally, if you do need a snack, you will lean on a higher protein and very little carbohydrates in that snack. But the trick is, in my opinion, is to see if you can go without snacking. And if you do need a snack, then plan on a very high protein snack that won't impact your insulin, because again, we want to keep that insulin very, very low. If you do need a snack, and you will in the beginning, while your body starts becoming fat adapted, maybe you want a handful of olives and a couple slices of salami. Something that is fatty and rich in protein and low in carbohydrates. Maybe you want to do a hard-boiled egg with plenty of sea salt. Maybe you need just a handful of nuts, a small handful of raw nuts. You can certainly add salt to them, and also drink plenty of water. Water, maybe some herbal tea, and or sparkling water. You can do mineral water. I don't recommend diet sodas. I don't think they're healthy. But once in a while, if that's gonna help you make it through the afternoon, then so be it. You do the best that you can. This is not about perfection. This is about kind of tapping into a really effortless way to lose the fat, blast the fat. And if this is something new, I'm thrilled because I know it's going to work for you. Give yourself grace. Don't try and master it in a week, and just start somewhere. So the number one fat loss tool is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is not starvation. Intermittent fasting is where you don't eat and then you do eat. So feast and fast. Feast and fast. If you eat a meal, then you need to put down the fork and not eat again until it's time to eat again. And you want to have, 3 to 5 hours in between your feedings to let that fuel process. Walk away from the kitchen. If there's a bowl of candy sitting somewhere, you're at the hairdresser's and they have a bowl of candy, just say no. You can do that. It's not impossible, okay? And be proud of yourself when you say, I don't need that. Shifting your metabolism to unlock fat stores is empowering, and it doesn't take forever. You deserve to feel good in your body. What is the biggest blocking factor for you? Write it in the comments. We can discuss it. I want to offer you secrets to unlock the fat, to burn the fat, to blast the fat. You deserve to feel good in your body. Now let me qualify what I'm sharing with you. I'm not a doctor, and this is not meant to be medical advice. We know fat loss is really difficult, especially for the menopausal woman. It's difficult for anyone. Now, if you feel like you've tried everything and nothing's clicking for you, then maybe consider scheduling a session with me. I offer a jumpstart session that is about an hour long. You fill out intake forms, and I get them before our session, and then we troubleshoot. I want to help you with your macronutrient ratios, and we'll do that for sure. I want to help you with your supplements. They're expensive, and I do recommend several supplements, especially for a menopausal woman. But I will give you secrets and tips and tricks, and you feel empowered moving forward with a solid plan for fat loss. I highly recommend it. My website is ConnieRutledge.com. You can jump over there after this and check it out. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I really appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. This is Over 50 Fat Blast, Fat Loss Secrets for the Over 50 Woman.